My name's Mike Jones. I work on the morning show with Danny Bonaducci, who's just right next door, on 102.5 KZOK, the classic rock station. But that's, of course, not why I'm here. I'm here because of the guy I'm going to bring out here in just a minute, Ray Park. Isn't this cool? I can't believe Ray Park is here. Let me show you something. By the way, I've been asked to make a couple of announcements. Just really obvious stuff. If you're going to take pictures, that's fine, but turn your flash off so Ray isn't blinded. He can see you all. Have your phone on vibrator or mute, whatever. And we're going to have plenty of time for questions, but please use the microphone if you could, because this is being recorded for the website and it's also being streamed all around the world. So if you don't use the microphone, then it sounds like 30 seconds of silence, and then I repeat the question, and that would be boring. So I know you can't see this from back there, but in October 1999, I won a costume contest, $200 as Darth Maul. Please ignore my zombie bride ex-wife. That's not an insult. She's dressed as a zombie bride. But that is how big a fan I am of Darth Maul and Ray Park. When they honored me by asking me to be a moderator for Comicon, I said, "That's great. Who do you want me to talk with?" And they started going through some names of people. I'm like, "Okay, it's cool. I like that person. I like that franchise. That's cool." And then they mentioned Ray Park, and I said, "Stop right there. You mean Darth Maul? I can talk to Darth Maul. How about Toad from the X-Men? That guy's gonna be here too. Snake Eyes from the G.I. Joe movies. Another one of which is coming out. Really? He was the Headless Horseman, for crying out loud, in Sleepy Hollow. How cool does that get?" So I was thrilled. Of all the people here at Comicon this year, which is a great year, is it not, for Comicon? This was the guy I was most excited to talk to. So enough for me. Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a big Emerald City Comicon welcome for Mr. Ray Park. Not at all. Just don't hurt me.
I only use the force. Thanks for the introduction. You showed me the picture backstage, and I thought it was really awesome. Like how things have a way of coming back round. I've met fans in the past where they were young teenagers and they're with their parents, and then the day comes and they're producers or directors, and I'm working with them. So it's nice to be at conventions to meet everyone, because I'm a fan too. So it's nice to be here again. So thanks for having me.
Awesome. I put that picture on Facebook and I asked people, "Do you think he'll be honored, creeped out, or a little of both?" And most of the comments were, "Yeah, probably a little of both." Okay, good.
I don't get creeped out.
So I want to ask some of the more, the more mundane questions. Leave the real creative questions to you guys, because you're gonna have plenty of time to hit up Ray Park for some answers here. But can you describe describe your upbringing and how you got into martial arts when you were a kid?
I was beaten as a child, left in a box, and only let out after I had some Coca-Cola and I was told to train for nothing. My upbringing, I was born in Scotland, Glasgow, and my parents were young and very supportive of anything I've done. And so, of course, Mum and Dad liked TV. Was very rare back in those days, 2 channels, 3 channels. But when there was programs on, it was either Star Trek or anything to do with Kung Fu and sci-fi. So I grew up watching action movies, Hong Kong movies, Bruce Lee, especially Bruce Lee. I had my wallpaper was Bruce Lee posters and Jackie Chan posters. And so I was idolizing these guys, Superman and Batman, and anything to do with superheroes, So I grew up with fantasizing wanting to be like these guys. And then when I was 7, after seeing Empire Strikes Back and seeing Luke Skywalker with Yoda on his back, I thought, oh, I want to be able to do that. When I'm a dad one day, I'm going to have my child strapped to my back and I'm going to do super. It's not quite the same. It's a little dangerous. So that got me into martial arts because of watching Star Wars, and I wanted to be like a Jedi.
Yeah.
So I got in. I've been doing martial arts since I was 7, Shaolin Kung Fu, and not really to learn to defend myself, but really just to learn how to be like a superhero. You know, because everyone in the movies, they could do these phenomenal moves and jump out of pits and, you know, fly in clouds and beat the bad guys, and I wanted to be like those guys in movies.
Well, you are a truly special guy, and here's the reason why. Because everybody else in that room, this room, had the same dream that you did, but you made it to a Star Wars movie. We all thought, hey, I'd like to use the Force. You got to do it.
I was very lucky.
That's incredible.
Very lucky. I spent nights in my bed. You know, my brother had pictures of cars and women and stuff like that in his bedroom.
Silly stuff.
Yeah, silly stuff. And I had pictures of Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan, and I remember when I was 14 crying to Bruce Lee and asking him to come back from the dead and give me special powers. So, not a lot of people know that. I was going to save it for the book one day, but no, I'm never going to do the book.
Yeah. A lot of people know it now.
But it was one of those things, you know, when a kid, you're 14, unsure, so I was a little chubby kid. I was very physical, and I was always in every sports team. Didn't like studying, didn't want to be at school, but I had to be. But I wanted to practice things, and I wanted to be off doing things like Jackie Chan and climbing buildings. Apparently when I was 5 years old, I climbed up a 4-story building. My mum and dad pulled their hair out. So that was the type of kid I was. You know, I wasn't fearless, I was scared of things. It was just, I just believed in these guys in the films. So when it came to playing Darth Maul, myself and the other stunt crew, we were really into playing like Soul Calibur.
Oh yeah.
So Soul Edge. So when we were choreographing, or when we were being strict with, we had to keep to the numbers. But then when the boss was away, when George wasn't around, or Nick Gillard wasn't around, Andreas Petrides and myself, we would wait and then we would goof off. So we would do the fight and then do the whole, you know when you do the knockout moves, when he knocks, there's a special move and he goes,
special combos and
don't come back here, have that day. So we did all of that. We did Cervantes, we did it all. So we were like, so a lot of that info was pushed into us having fun during the choreography, and I think that helped with Darth Maul as well, because I used a lot of my wushu and watching traditional kung fu movies where the master never looked at you. He was So I wanted Darth Maul to be a bit like that. So when we were rehearsing and my audition tape was a little bit like that, I would do things and then look afterwards like that and then carry on. Because I grew up, that was my upbringing. And then and just playing Snake Eyes, it was just reliving my childhood.
Yeah.
Because who hasn't pretended to be a Jedi, and who hasn't pretended to be Darth Maul, and who hasn't pretended? I mean, I wanted to be Batman, you know, I wanted to be a ninja, I wanted to read people's minds, I wanted to be like Teen Wolf and growl and not be able to hit anyone, you know? Who wouldn't want to, like, remember in Teen Wolf when the day goes, I thought, I'd love to have that power.
Yeah.
The red eyes and just go, and, you know?
So your interest in martial arts was always sort of blended with showbiz, right? There was always that entertainment aspect.
There was always that fantasy entertainment. It wasn't to do with, like, being the best fighter in the world. It was just I represented Great Britain, and I did wushu, was a non-contact sport, and it was more artistic. But I practiced wushu because I was told if you do wushu, Jackie Chan will notice you and you'll get to work with Jet Li. So I'm 14, no one knew anything about wushu, no one knew anything about Jet Li. Back in England, there was no internet when I was 14. So you'd have to wait each month, and the only experience I got of seeing these masters was competing. So my goal was to compete, try and be the best I could ever be, and win as many championships. And hopefully, like one day, I'll be walking down Hollywood and someone's like, hey, you want to be in my movie? You know? It was a story you always heard, you know, working in a diner, or walking down the street. So I thought maybe I'll be like Van Damme and go to Venice Beach and start breakdancing.
For a moment, I think I read that happened more in like China or Indonesia for you? Didn't you get noticed and someone said, well, here's another master you can work with, and that person will get you to, you know, Jet Li. Somebody who might know Jet Li.
Yeah, what happened was my teacher was from Malaysia, he was Chinese Malay. So the style that I did was Qing Wu Kung Fu. And then the Wushu style, of course, you know, it all came from China. And so I got into Wushu, and my coach knew my teacher, so I had two teachers. So I was doing the Kung Fu and then I was doing the Wushu. So I would travel to Malaysia to train with my masters. Because one of my black belt seniors, he travelled there and told me all these fantastic stories. So at 14, that's what I was going to do. So I was doing a paper round every morning to save up my money. My mum and dad borrowed some money so I could go when I was 15. And I went when I was 15 and it changed my life forever. To see how martial arts was practiced in a different way to what we were practicing it. It was so relaxed. Auntie, gran, uncle, granddad, everyone was doing it. And it wasn't so, I'm the best. It was like, I want to learn Premats, go to that master. You want to learn this, go to that master. It was like having all these masters, and it was really nice, and it really opened my eyes. And so every year I would go back to Malaysia and go to China to do Wushu. And because I wasn't a natural at it, I liked to do it, but it was a challenge. And it was a challenge to sort of improve every year. And in Wushu, it's all about how high you can jump and how fast you can jump. So that was a challenge to feel that air time for the first time, like someone actually got under your butt and picked you up. And I remember jumping over someone for the first time, and I felt, I'm Superman.
You have superpowers.
Yeah, I've got some, but then the next day you're sore and you haven't got those superpowers anymore. Like, what happened? Did I have a cup of tea before training yesterday?
Spider-Man used to get the heck beat out of him all the time, and you have to recover. So instead of jumping from, go see this Hollywood agent, go to this audition, you were just master to master to master, learning as much as you could.
I actually wanted to be a stuntman when I was 16. There was a bunch of stunt guys training at the gymnastic gym. But I knew if I got into stunts, because I grew up with the Fall Guy, Burt Reynolds was a stuntman I heard, and actor. And then a lot of other Western martial artists were working with Jackie Chan. And Jackie Chan being a performer in the way he is, I thought, well, I know if I do stunts, I'm going to be doing acting. I'm going to end up being the guy who gets in front of the camera and I just don't know, it was just the way I felt. I wasn't a trained actor, I didn't go to drama school. We did drama school, but in Wushu we perform a lot. We do things. I was used to the performance. And so I remember the stunt guy saying to me, yeah, you can do it, but you have to wait till 21. So he just says, make sure you've got your competition out of the way, and when you're 21, come back and try out. But when I was 21, I got on Mortal Kombat Annihilation.
Right.
And it was just when I was getting sick of competing, because you were competing, and it was just, I was like, okay, I want something more now. I'm ready to move on with the next stage of my life. And I just got lucky that I was the kid that was bouncing off walls and jumping off my head and doing all these crazy things. For them, there's really talented people out there today, like they can do unbelievable things with their bodies. And I just impressed some of the right people, and that helped me to get Star Wars.
So if you're a Soul Calibur fan, how many nanoseconds did you have to think about doing Mortal Kombat? I'll bet that didn't take very long to decide.
That was like when I got asked to come down and do an audition, I was like, what? And one of the stunt guys had seen me training in the gym, and so I went down and he just said to me, look, Ray, there's going to be like 100 other stunt guys auditioning today, but just listen to what, don't do anything, but when I say, do your thing. Because you see me practice in the gym. So there's me turning on my Great Britain shit tracksuit bottom, and there's like me standing there with my swords and my spears. I'm thinking back on today, like out of respect for the stunt guys, they're really talented and really good at what they do. But I got the job, and in Wushu back then you had to show off in a sense of in an arrogant way, but not in a confident way. You had to outsight your other, if you knew someone was better than you, you had to do something that made them question their ability on the mat so you won.
Not necessarily demeaning, but you're just kind of trying to get ahead of them.
You're just like, you're showing that you're confident enough to step on the mat, do some moves, and bang, and be right there in the mix of it with the best of them, And it was fun to do that. And I never did a Wushu demo. I always did gymnastics in front of Wushu guys because it was just funny. It was something, I would do oddball stuff. I'm not saying I was really good, but it was a way of me finding confidence in myself on the mat. So I did the same thing. So he nodded to me, the door opened, like this, and if you can hear the walks, the points, you go, these are important people, they're wearing cowboy boots and jackets. So 3 guys walk out, and he's like, now. So I just pull out my sword and start just doing broadsword, whipping it out, spinning, kicking, jumping in splits, somersault, running up walls, and then I thought, just make some noise. So there's a southern style called Nanchang, so I was like, and then the broadsword, it's like cracking, so I just went ballistic. I just want one time to do this, and then I'd end it and go up, like this, and no joke, polite, and no disrespect. The stunt coordinator goes, you, everyone else go home. And I was like, no way did that just happen, you know? So the next day, we had to come back for a retest. So I'm with another stunt guy who's really good. And it was because he went first that I stepped out of the box a little bit. So he performed for camera, which I've never done. I've always done things for performance for everyone to see. So I watched him and I was nervous because he was really good. He was top off, ripped up, you know, Chinese dude. Flipping gymnastics. I was like, oh no, I don't do this stuff. That's not what I do. Why didn't I learn how to do you know? So I was like, what am I going to do? So, okay, the camera's here. So I get my voice sorted out again. And then I started doing somersaults and flips and making it up. And when I screwed up, I got up and went to the camera and went, so just doing whatever I could, you know, but because I watched him. And then I got the job. I'm not saying I was better than he was. It was just the fact that I was young and I was given a chance to sort of be part of something. I learned my apprenticeship on Mortal Kombat Annihilation. You know, how to fold a box, how to clean a crash mat, how to make tea. But for the first few months I did, because I wasn't allowed to do stunts, because I wasn't a stunt man in the UK. So I helped, you know, I'd be the guy sitting and watching how they did their fights. And I memorized everyone's fights just by watching. So I was like the standby guy. And then when we went to Thailand, Pat Johnson, he'd come up to me and he goes, Ray, I know you're not a stunt man, I'm going to give you this chance, you know, but if you can't do it, I'm going to have to send you home and, you know, get, you know, blah, blah, blah to do it. And I said, look, Mr. Johnson, you know, if I will admit to you, if I can't do it, I'll tell you straight away, but let me have a go, let me try it. So the other stunt guys taught me how to do an air ram, I learned how to do wire work, you know, and I've done some scary stuff on that movie, you know, where the stunt guy saved my life. And I learned a lot, and that carried over and gave me confidence for when I auditioned for Star Wars. I was doing stuff off the air rams that, you know, like because of what I learned on Mortal Kombat got me that job as well.
We should add, especially for the young people in the audience, that we can't recommend that behavior for every job interview.
No,
it's not always going to work.
No, not at all.
So when you were asked to audition for The Phantom Menace, how much did you know about what you were getting into in terms of the character? How much did they tell you, or did they just kind of give you a blank slate saying, we want to see your movement and what you can do?
Well, you know what's really funny? I was in the office with Nick Gillard, the stunt coordinator, for a couple of hours, and I turned up my team tracksuit, Great Britain in the bag. I stole my weapons, my bag of swords, my bag of spears, and my portfolio. I'd be doing boxing like Van Damme. I was sitting there with my gymnastic shorts on. So we were talking, and he showed me everything to do with Darth Maul, the pictures, the storyboard, and he introduced me upstairs to all the producers, and then George, and no, wait a minute. I run this is my second movie, but I know enough that maybe I'm liked, and maybe I'm being given a chance at it. So I went down to audition with Robin Gulland, and I was really nervous because I had to do dialogue, and he put me on the spot, and I don't you want to see me do Bouncy About Me Boom? And I didn't have the job, but it was just like, Ray, we're looking for someone, but I've heard a lot about you, and if it doesn't work out for you, we'll have you on instance. So I was like, okay, so I didn't get my hopes up at all. I didn't think in a million years that I'd ever get to be the guy who gets to be the guy, you know?
Yeah.
But you know, I got so used to, I'm going to double for someone else. This is what's going to happen. And I auditioned, and it was the worst audition for me.
No.
But because I'd just been listening to Fugees in the morning, like, and my brother and I would do this, and I went to see my dad on his job, and we were going, what's this? Are you going to do Star Wars? And I went, I am. We're going to do Star Wars. So it was always, what's this? You think this is a restaurant? You can have Burger King like your way? You know, I don't know if you listened to the old album, but it was on the back. So it was stuck in my head. So when Robin asked me to say, walk in here with this rolled up cardboard pencil lightsaber, look out the window and say, what's going on here? You're these Jedi. So I'm going, what's going on here? Who are those Jedis? I couldn't get it out of my head. And she's like, okay, right, let's start this again, let's do this again. And you know, I could be elaborating on this right now, I don't know, but I remember being, it's just terrible. So I did it again, and I did the same thing, because I wasn't a trained actor, you know, like I didn't, but it's more performing. So I did so, what's this? And I was like, okay. So she's like, okay, let's go to the window. There are Jedi's out there, so I imagine they're Jedi's. And I'm going, what's it? And so I got so angry with myself. I looked at her, and the look was like, yes, that's it. Do that look, and then say lines. And that's where the whole grimace came out with. Because I got angry with myself, so I just remember this. Because I was about to walk off and run home with my diaper on and go back. I'm embarrassed.
And was it at that point that the producer's like, maybe we should have Darth Maul talk less?
You know what the funny thing is? I always knew that Darth Maul was going to be dubbed from day one, from very first, But I still worked on, back then I was like, right mate, how you doing? Yeah, mum, yeah, master. Yeah, master. So my buddy who was an AD, he would watch the dailies, and it's me going, yes, my master. Tatooine is sparsely populated. If the trace is correct, I'll find them quickly, my master. So, you tell me that sounds like I didn't know I spoke differently, I didn't know I would go, thanks, thank you. Cockney, I didn't know that, it's just the way I grew up. So I had to practice going, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And I still do it to this day. So if it was a Guy Ritchie movie, I'd be going, yeah, my master, how's it doing? Yeah? Tatooine is sparsely populated, isn't it? The trace was correct. I will find them quickly, my master. And I would just love to do a movie like that just for the fact of just really going to town on those characters, like really. I grew up with guys that spoke like that and doing the old Scottish, you right? What you doing here? You think you can have some soda? I don't think so.
Well, and you might have gone in with confidence thinking that, just about everybody in the Star Wars universe has at least a vaguely British accent. So you got it nailed, and then they're like, but not Darth Maul.
I didn't mind, Of course, it gives you confidence to think you have speaking lines and stuff. But I'm happy the way it was, and I'm not scared to speak in dialogue. And there's been movies where I've gone, how can I speak that? Because sometimes you're going, you're explaining things, and it's hard to do that, and that takes a lot of practice. So I'm someone that tells a story with my body, with Snake Eyes, a few of my friends, when I chased after the first one, because I wanted to do a movie, I wanted to be Snake Eyes, I believed it would be me. So I called up the contacts that I had and just said, do you know who's making this movie? And I just want to go in a room and audition, that's all I want to do. And they were like, I thought you were trying to get away from that. I thought you want to do more dialogue. And I was like, I don't care if I'm not speaking, I don't care if you don't see my face. I just want to play this part. It was just something inside me. And yeah, as I got older, I don't mind playing great abstract characters where I can just, where that imagination is, I can let that loose on my characters. I don't need to be like, okay, we're going to kiss right now, and I'm going to get to you up, and I'm going to drive my Ferrari. And we're gonna do, I don't mind doing it. I'll do it.
Right.
Take my shirt off. Beat people up, get it back on. I'd love to do that. Drive a nice car and be Bond. But I don't mind putting a mask on and getting all like Igor. As long as I get to do a flip here and there and a little twirl. Do my Darth Maul.
I was going to ask, because the way you're describing this, I was going to ask, do you have an agent, or do you just pursue you call people you know and say, when's the audition, I want to do this?
Yeah, well, recently, I don't have an agent now, I have a manager. I had an agent back in the beginning, a manager and a publicist and stuff. I just didn't understand it when I was younger. Maybe I was still trying to find myself a little bit in the confidence and what's going on. So why have I got a manager and why have I got an agent? In England it's a little bit different, how it's like the manager and agent's one person, they can deal with everything. So things have come about through agencies, right. And then things have come about through friends,
Because I've imagined those conversations where, if you had an agent, he'd say, hey, good news, you got Darth Maul, but the voice will be dubbed. Sorry about that. Or, good news, you're Snake Eyes, but did you realize the character, not an inch of your skin is showing and you don't get to speak at all, so I hope you're cool with that. How do you convey, someone like Snake Eyes, it's all physical. how, and you mentioned you're not, you didn't study acting. How do you convey a character? Because that is such a, can you agree, a charismatic character that Snake Eyes is just darn cool, but you never hear his voice, you never see his face. I mean, how do you approach that?
I've just been a fan ever since I was a kid. To go back on the studying of acting, my training was watching what I saw on the big screen. My idols and what I saw, I understood camera. I understood, like, I knew where I had to be, I knew how it worked, I knew the dynamics of it, from fight scenes, but I wasn't trained it. It's just, as a martial artist, you live for it, like you're in it, especially like Star Trek and Star Wars. I'm just really into it. So when I had the opportunity, it was just maybe having good people around me. But with Snake Eyes, I knew the history, I knew what I wanted to be Snake Eyes, because I wanted to be true to what I remember reading as a kid and growing up with, and true to the fans as well, because I didn't want to get beaten up today or anything like that. Because being at the conventions is important as well. Like, it's made me want to do more films. And there's times when I'm like, I don't want to do it because I'm not getting to do martial arts as much, or maybe I'm not heading in the right direction. But when I come to the shows, I get ideas from everyone, and I think, you know what, I wouldn't mind doing that. And Darth Maul was I was just in the right zone. When I saw pictures of him and saw the storyboards, all the ideas come to me, and that's the same with Snake Eyes. I'm in the suit, and then I'm Snake Eyes. It's fun.
So, raise your hand if you're like me. You've watched The Phantom Menace a few times, and you spent at least one evening fast forwarding to all the Darth Maul scenes. Right? You've done that? Everybody has done that. What do you think it is? Because we could lay our cards on the table and say that the prequels, they've come in for some criticism, but I've never heard anybody say anything bad about Darth Maul. What do you think it was about that character that's so connected with fans?
It's good. It's a good question. Maybe because he was really good.
Maybe it was that grimace, like, you'll like me or else?
I think it's because you get, for the first time ever, maybe in everyone's minds, we all expand on what Star Wars could be more so if you were to do it, or you had the chance to give an idea. And I think what it was Darth Maul came out with a double-bladed lightsaber, and he was different from any other bad guys. You got to see his face. And so it's more character there, maybe a bit of swagger and confidence. And it might have tapped into what you already wanted anyway, a bit. And I'm sure everyone has brilliant ideas, and you do, because you come up with your own creations when you're at the shows. And everyone listens to that, even the directors and producers, and it ends up in the comics and the books. And so we're all big kids, I always say that we're all Peter Pans and Wendy's, We don't want to grow up. We live our childhood, and we do it for our kids as well. And it's awesome, It's good to, I never knew about conventions when I did Star Wars. I never knew about, autographs or anything like that. I knew about performance. I knew about going and doing demonstrations at church halls or a local recreational centre. So when I was asked to come to a convention, I was scared. I was like, no one's going to come up. Someone's going to come and say, I'm crap, I'm rubbish.
You're no Darth Vader.
So I didn't understand this. I'm so glad that there are conventions for everything, like sci-fi, TV, martial. I think it's really good. It's a good place for everyone. Because I never told anyone I did martial arts at school, or I was into Jackie Chan because of fear of getting beaten up or picked on. You didn't tell anyone you were into Jackie Chan, because then they're like, you think you're Bruce Lee, and then you've got everyone. Yeah, and everyone's going to pick on you. And I was like a little chubby kid, and with holes in my trousers, and I was always falling over and playing soccer. So when I found out that 4 other classmates were into Jackie Chan, bang, we were like talking Jackie Chan, everything, and it felt like I belonged somewhere. So then we went to martial arts together, and we were watching Jackie Chan movies, and we were doing swap scenes. And it was the greatest feeling ever. So I think it's great to have conventions, and it's great for everyone to be here and share stories, have fun, that's what it's all about. Anything's possible, that's what I believe.
So you mentioned superheroes and your love of them when you were young, and a movie we haven't touched on yet is X-Men. How was the process of getting to Toad and a role where you actually talked? You voiced the character the whole bit?
Toad was a lot of fun. I'd love to come back and be Darth Maul with a shirt off, tattoos, 2 double-bladed lightsabers, because I have been working on it ever since episode 3 was in production. So, anyone listening? Okay. But Toad, of course, Batman, X-Men, Superman, everything I grew up on. Brian called me because Brian was on set of the final battle of episode 1, and when I got called by the producer to see if I was ever going to be in LA anytime soon, I'd only been to the US twice, and I was there for Celebration 1. When he called me there, he asked me if I was going to be in LA. I made sure I was in LA for that meeting, and it was a whirlwind journey. It was like they wanted me part of our audition a little bit, and it was just a great feeling. And I took my stunt buddy along, and he said, "You know what? It's never happened. You're in a special place and time right now."
Sought out.
Yeah, sought out, and it was like it felt so good. Not knowing what to do, you know, not having the representation. What do I do now? What it is? You know, it's like it wasn't like you like massage a little bit. I couldn't do this. This is gonna. And so I was offered pyro first, and I was like, pyro. I don't know how pyro is. So I was like, okay. So I started thinking of Jet Li. What would Jet Li do with flames coming from his hands? So I started thinking, okay, my style, Tai Chi, Bagua, I can be like, watch it. Play with it. And then Brian came back with me and he said, "I want you to be Toad." I was like, "Toad?"
Gross.
I didn't want to be like that. I knew what he was like in the comics. I was like, prosthetics, or no.
Punchback.
I did that in Mortal Kombat, 5 hours, get on, I don't know what to do. And so I stole a little bit, and I shouldn't have, don't ever do that. But I was doing convention, so he calls me and he goes, "Ray, we're doing this or not?" And I told him, he goes, "Look, Ray, this is an opportunity for you to show a character, but bring it to life in the way you want to, and do something new with it." So I don't want to wear prosthetics though, you know, but and he goes, "Look, let's just test it out and forget the conversation." So we made a little deal where the goggles were, and I'm proud to be Toad, you know, it was a lot of fun. And I have so many other ideas for Toad now, that if I was to come back and been struck by lightning, I was going to come back all wacky, like all twisted up, and thinking, you know, like have this little thing going on where I'm talking to myself, and then like every time I see Toad, I pee myself. I just told you how to do it. So it's like going to be one of those ones, and it was like and talking to the fans as well. And I'm so glad I did it. And he said, because I had to wear the goggles, and he was thinking about wearing the goggles for me to wear them throughout the movie. So I used an embeddler. I said, you know, I didn't want to wear them. They were really hard to see out of. And I wanted to show my face a little bit. So I used Halle Berry as a way of getting out. But I said, you know what, I can't wear these because I might hit Halle by accident. I'm not going to do my thing. And he goes, okay. And that's what I said, like, but I don't want to do Darth Maul because I only felt like if I ever did that as Toad, it would be Darth Maul. So I had to come up with something different, how I'd be sort of sinister and creepy and crazy at the same time. And it's all worked out. And we did a camera test, and he said to me, if it doesn't work out and you're menacing and creepy without the goggles, then you're going to be wearing the goggles for the whole movie. So I was practicing different moves and like how to do that, you know, creepy and stuff.
Did they sell you on it by saying, you sort of get to make out with Halle Berry? Sort of, kind of.
You know, I hadn't read the script yet, so, but I knew Halle was in it, and so it was like when I was 14, I had a crush on her, so, okay.
And then you say, all right, I'll do it, but I get to work in at least one Darth Maul move that you put on camera.
That was Brian's idea.
That was Brian's
idea.
idea.
That was all Brian, because I was a little bit against it, and don't shoot me for this. But I turned on set, there's a stick there between the elevator, of course I read the script, and he goes, I want you to do a little twirl like that, and I said, yeah, but that's going to look like Darth Maul. And I was trying to keep away from Darth Maul, because I wanted to show that, I wanted to show I could do something different. And he goes, yeah, that's the whole point. I want it for the fans, and music's going to go da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na, and then I got it. I was like, oh, it's a little shout out, it's a little tribute. I was like, okay.
Easter egg.
Yeah, that was all Brian, and then so, when I go through the elevator show, I said, how do I do people funny? So I thought my dad. My dad would go if he did something wrong. So I just played my dad. Because if I'd fallen over, my dad would go. And then I thought, what would Jackie Chan do? Oh yeah, Jackie Chan, catch it. So that was a Jackie Chan moment for me. And then a little spin. That was the hardest spin I've ever had to do in my life. I was so nervous to get it correct. that I fumbled. Like, to do a bow stuff was easy at that time, but I was so nervous of, I'm going to do this, I can do this move, I can and Brian's like, no, just a little bit like that. And that was all because of Brian. That was his suggestion, because he's a fan and he wanted something for fans, so I'm so glad I was involved in it.
So we're getting toward the end of our time, believe it or not. So if anybody has a question, if you wanted to step up to the microphone, feel free, and we'll have a little cue there. And
I wish I could demonstrate, but I can't. Sorry.
all right, go ahead.
I stopped doing head spins on tables a long time ago.
So don't ask.
I've been a fan of yours since Sleepy Hollow.
Thank you.
And I've actually broken many copies of that movie rewatching it.
Cool.
What was it like filming with the mask on of the CGI?
I don't know if you could hear that because the mic isn't on, but she asked about basically being a headless horseman and having not having your head show while you're doing the CGI on Sleepy Hollow.
I felt like Spider-Man for once. It was my Spider-Man moment, because it was a blue, and I actually thought they were going to put the shoulder pads on me and I'm going to have to do this fight scene with these shoulder pads. But what was really cool, that I got to feel like Batman first, with the boots and the cape, and I was like, I felt like Adamant a little bit, and it felt really nice to wear this costume and feel like Batman, and I hear the sound of clacking, like putting shoes, and then with the blue mask was on, it was nice. I was like, I'm Spider-Man now. And I had all these ideas of doing these high kicks, and even though it was like a period piece, we were going to push it a little bit, we're going to kick down a door, we're going to do side kicks and do this. As soon as I got the costume on, forget about it, I could kick my leg up too high, because it was bridges, and when Nick Gillard, who coordinated Star Wars, he had told me about it, and he said, we're going to have a sword and 2 axes. I said, I'm in. Anything to swing around, so that's the appeal for me, was to be. I didn't know anything about Sleepy Hollow, the legend of Headless Horseman, until I was on the movie and I did my research. Because we didn't learn about it at school growing up.
American.
Yeah, and I hear they might be doing a TV show. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong.
Unless you're the person, it doesn't really...
All right, you sir. Yeah, is that on? I don't know. Is it plugged in? I don't know what the deal is with the microphone.
I don't know. Anyways, Big
All our
fan
name shirts have
yours.
disappeared. Thank you.
I do Savant style kickboxing myself,
cool.
so I appreciate the whole martial arts thing. But do you try and cast yourself for roles that you're not speaking too much because of your accent?
No, I don't. I just sometimes the work comes along where it's actually recently in the last few years it's more like, Ray, we want you in a movie, but you don't have to do martial arts. And I was like, okay, acting is good, so I can show what I can do as an actor, but I want to do martial arts. There's some stuff that I'm like, wait a minute, I could have kicked and punched that. I could have gone, So it's just happened, and also, unless I'm doing a Guy Ritchie movie, I think, what mate I do? So I've just got to work on it a little bit. Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I was just wondering how long it took for you to get all your Darth Maul makeup on. Like, how many times you had to take it off every day and get it fixed and stuff.
Good question. About 3 hours. That included getting the contact lenses in, painting teeth and the horns, and then getting into wardrobe. The face would get done first. And if I had forgotten that part of shaving my hair, I had to sort of go over again. And then it got down to about 2 hours. And then it would take about 45 minutes to get off. I mean, for months afterwards, because I knew nothing about going to get a facial or anything like that. It wasn't something I did. I mean, I'm going to get a facial. But I had all these blackheads in my nose, like black makeup everywhere. And I didn't know about that because I never used to look at my face in that way. And so until X-Men, and I had green in my balls. So they suggested for me to go and have a facial. God, I fell in love with that. Yeah! Production is paying for this.
Eagle-eyed fans will know that Darth Maul has a cartilage piercing, right? You got a little jewel in your ear.
That's a good question.
And I got my ear pierced for my costume just to make it more authentic and left it in for 10 years.
Wow, awesome.
And I was going for a job interview and I didn't want to do anything too crazy, so I took it out.
You still got a scar?
I do still have a little cartilage
Yeah,
problem.
me too, yeah. I actually just got that pierced the weekend of my screen test. and I just got the job, and I was on one of my rebellious, like, yeah, let's get this done up here, so I had a stud, and I didn't want to take it out, so I was hoping George wouldn't see it, so they painted it black so George wouldn't see it, and then George came up and he was like, yeah, so I told him, I said, I just got it done. He went, no, keep it in.
Let's work it in.
So he kept it in.
Nice.
Awesome. So that's why, you know.
It's very cool.
And most of the parts that I did, I wore an earring for a while. It's really just crazy. I always wore an earring. It's when I was younger.
So with martial arts, have you taught much, or do you teach? I mean, I'm a martial arts instructor myself. I'm just curious.
Yeah, before I went to films, I was teaching all the time. I was one of the first martial art teachers to actually have a curriculum in school in London. And I went around schools, and I charged them like £1, and I'd give 50p, so it's $1. But the rest of that money went towards me going to China to compete in the World Championships. And they were surprised that I gave money back. And it wasn't about, you know, making the money, it was just about getting this, because I used to teach gymnastics in school for the government too. So I just wanted to be the first person. I saw an opening and they were very interested in my the teachers were very supportive of in the 5 schools that I had and my martial art background. So I brought a team in and we demonstrated and we had classes and because I thought if I'm already in the school teaching, instead of going out and renting a church hall or buying a dojo, I'm already there with the kids. And what kid doesn't want to go out, get out of class and train martial arts? So I thought there must be a couple of kids out there like me. And I had like 50 in one school, and it was number was about 30. And it was really good because I got to show that wushu wasn't a violent sport or martial art. It wasn't kickbox. It wasn't like I'm going to beat you up because I do martial arts and it's aggressive. There's more art behind it as well. And I used to do Peking opera with them and play around. And so I did that, and also I had some schools with my teacher. And then when I got Mortal Kombat, I asked my senior black belt, would he take over my schools for me? Because I thought, yeah, this is it. And I felt bad for the kids, but I made a deal with them. Whenever I'm back, I'll teach them and train them. So, and I used to have a gymnastic team that I took to the London Youth Games, and we won. And we won because they were the kids that weren't the gymnasts, but they were like the kids that had a little bit of flavour, like a little bit of naughtiness to them. So I incorporated martial arts into their gymnastic routines, and they won, so it was cool.
So with that, I'd also like to ask, so do you know of martial arts tricking then?
Tricking?
Yeah.
You know, in the last few years, because of the wushu side was different, it's all linear, so I've had to sort of re-go back and try and think I'm 21 again, and do these kicking the moons and twisty twist. I'm nowhere near what the kids can do out there, but I'll try. But I'll pose at the end and make sure I look good though. Thanks.
What was your favorite part of being Darth Maul?
Yes, you know, have been able to play with a double-bladed lightsaber. One of the funnest moments was the first time we shot the N5 scene where you get to see me and the doors open. And I remember walking on set, the room is longer than this, it's 3 times longer than this, the aircraft hangar. And I remember the crew were looking at me and I just listened to some like Prodigy music, psyching myself up, this is a competition. I'm like, I've got the cloak off now it's time for battle. And I'm stretching, doing box splits up against the scaffolding and stuff. And I remember there's people just staring like this. And I'm like, they see me every day, why are they staring at me? But it was the first time they saw me in the makeup. So I was just like, yeah, I'm ready for this. So that was, like, if you ever watch the doors opening for the mall, and I go, and then take the cloak off.
Close up.
Yeah, close up. I'm thinking, yeah, I'm getting this cloak off. I don't have to wear this anymore. Now I can do it. So if you watch again, I've got a little smirk, you know. Thank you.
And what does Qui-Gon say? He's like, I'll handle this.
Yes, sir. Well, we'll take care of this. I'll handle this.
Little did he know. Alright, go ahead.
I really liked you in Fanboys.
Yeah.
Would you like to do more comedy in the future?
Oh yeah. I make you guys laugh sometimes. I don't know if it's because I'm making funny faces when I'm talking, my big nose and stuff. But I don't know if I would love to do comedy, but I think I've been told that comedy is so much different, like the way it's structured, and you know. But I'd like to just try and be myself. a sense, but be scripted in what I'm doing. So if I was to do comedy, I would do what Schwarzenegger did. I would make fun of myself. I would use my body in a way that is comedic. I loved Charlie Chaplin when I was a kid, but I would do it like Jackie Chan too, in a sense. But I'll still be and then take it, but do funny stuff, like goofy stuff. And I did an episode of Super Ninjas, and it was actually a lot of fun for me to do because I got to do some goofy falls and crazy, silly stuff, and because it's a kids program. But the fun thing was that we didn't rehearse. We rehearsed the fight scene, but when the cameras rolled, I don't think anyone expected, because they gave me a cricket bat. So I thought, well, I'm supposed to play this hard, nutty English person and gangstery. So I went crazy with the bat, but with control. And I think the crew members were like, oh my God! I had to smash up, but it was so much fun because I got to sort of really go to the other end of what I normally would do and then do a goofy fall. And I'm not afraid of falling over and stuff, it's with control. And I like doing stuff like that, it makes my kids laugh as well if I fall over. I do it on purpose and they think I've fallen over, but I just do it for attention.
Thank you. Thank you. Let's be sure to get these last few questions in because we've been given the sign, we're running out.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
So you got the job for Star Wars by showing off what you could do. And how much input did you have in putting together the style for Darth Maul? Was it mostly Nick Gillard knowing that you could do what you could do, or was it kind of you jumping in?
They were very supportive of me. I was a good student. He's master. I don't step on anyone's toes, and I've got this job. What can I do as Darth Maul? Can I do this? And I remember Nick and Andrea saying, remember, you're Darth Maul. Anything you want to do for Darth Maul, you do. So that changed the way I thought about things. It wasn't like, okay, I just thought I became more confident and sure about opening my mouth and saying, is this idea okay? And it was George and Nick were in control of it, so it was what was agreed upon, take this out, do this and all that. And a lot of time we would just sit there and go, what are we going to do? And then we would just come up with some moves. Playing Soul Edge, and copying some of those moves. And then Andreas was so good he was a good partner to have, he was so good to rehearse with. There was times where I would just close my eyes and I said, just come at me. And he would come at me with all these crazy moves, and he was a great breakdancer, and I'm like, oh. So I would have to react and just go on instincts. And a lot of the time we're like, yeah, that was really good, what did we do? So we would have to film that. And to this day I'll be on set and I'll just goof off with the sword and flick. And they're like, yeah, do that. And I'll do it again. I don't know what I did. Because I was just in the moment. I'm just going with it. So I'd have to say Nick, because I'm just a performer, and I'm a wushu guy and martial artist. And, I was just a student listening. So. And George, he's the master.
One more question. Be honest. How long did you have the Darth Maul theme song as your ringtone?
Actually, it was a Star Wars. I had my favorite ringtone of tune is the Death March. I heard a techno version of it years ago, and I thought I've got to get that because the bass was really. I'll tell you that story. Talking about the songs. I got up every morning to the song. Guess what song it was? Bulu come back! I used to have this hi-fi that you could set the alarm and your favourite song, and it was Bulu come back! And I'd get out of bed, I'm like, muscle mode now! That's when I was living alone in the little flat.
Never thought I'd say this, but Ray Park is geekier than me. Say it so. All right, last question. We've been told we got to wrap it up and give up the room.
Can I ask you to do your Darth Maul lines in your Cockney accent again?
Okay.
Oh no.
So now you're putting me on the spot now. Alright. I will find them quickly, my master. The trace was correct. Okay. Tatooine is sparsely populated. It is. Very sparsely populated. Not a lot of people there. Not a lot of people know about it. If the trace was correct, I will find them quickly, my master. You bet that I will find them quickly. You know what I mean?
got trying to like do all these moves and stuff. Like,
Has she
learning
seen the
how to-
scar on your neck that I've been staring at for the last hour?
That's another story. Get cut in half. I'll tell you something else about that. If I'm my Georgia must probably kill me for this. But I was like, how do I show a face of death? How do I show a face of being cut in half? So I was thinking about it, so I thought I'd put all the energy down here to where I'm getting cut in half. I go, what would I feel like? I thought, I need a big job here. Never taller. We go for number 2. So, not to sort of discredit the character, when you look at it, I'm thinking, oh.
You'll never watch that scene the same way again. Joe Harrington, he's just, I call him my Comicon guy, and he's the one who gave me this opportunity. And I don't know if you're anything like me and have similar tastes that I do. It's been just a thrill to sit here and listen to Ray talk. So, how about a big Emerald City Comicon? Thank you.